of us look at rock bottom and think, oh my gosh, can things get any worse? And although they can, this could be the very start of something brand new. I'm going to share today how rock bottom was where everything started for me. Lost everything a man could think carry value to him. I built a solid career in sales. I was headhunted. I was no longer looking for jobs. In fact, let me take a step back. When I first got into sales, I knocked on every single door I can think of and no luck. I would apply for 150 jobs a day, no luck. So what I decided to do was fling on a suit, pretending I was in this lunch break, and I started sort of applying face to face to these companies. Within a week, I got an interview with one of the biggest estate agencies in the UK. So I'm based in the UK as we speak at the moment, unfortunately. And yeah, I got the job. Within 3 years, became a branch manager. Never had to look for a job ever again after that. So I had built my identity on my confidence in my ability to know that when it comes to sales, I'm the guy. Okay. As time went on, got headhunted, and I lost my job due to disagreements with the company I was working with at the time. Nothing personal, they just felt like I wasn't the right fit for what they had going with at the time. But what that done is it shattered me, because for the first time in years, I was no longer a provider. And you see, as men, we go through this phase where we base our identity based on what we can do. And if you can't do anything, then the world tells us we're useless. And the first time I went in that phase, I had to face some of the most difficult things I've been telling myself. But as time went on, I was able to almost overlook those things and sort of really focus on being the guy that could do what he said he was going to do. But my identity shifted right back to action. What can you do? It's not about who you are, it's about what you can do. What I had built was never me. Because I am not a provider. I can provide, I will provide, and I choose to provide. But my definition isn't just provider. Because I'm not just a provider, I'm also a son. I'm also a father, I'm also a husband. I'm also a gentleman, I'm also a warrior. I'm also a nurturer. And I'm gonna go into a video where we discuss the different archetypes, and I'm gonna split the difference between light masculinity and dark masculinity. But in this video, I need you to understand that you're not just a provider like the society tells you you are. You're much more than that. If you're a Christian, you're a son of God. So your identity isn't just based on what you can do, it's based on who you say you are. That's the freedom of speech. That's the free will that God has given you. What I had built was an armor. It was never me. It was built on the need to be felt seen, valued, protected based on what he can do, so that no one could come and tell him that he's not a man. I'm a provider. I provide, I put food on the table. What do you mean I'm not a man? And when that stripped away and I was left naked, I was left with a choice. Am I a broken man? Am I a man? What am I? Right? And what that stripped from me was the ability to be confident in something I was never confident in the first place. Because if my confidence disappears, the moment the skill disappears, or the ability to make that skill useful disappears, then I was never confident. I was just confident in that skill set. But you see, in order for you to embody confidence, it needs to be an identity shift. It can't just be based on what you're doing. It needs to be who you are. And in order for it to be who you are, it needs to be constant. So regardless of the storm, regardless of whether you got a job or not, regardless of how you feel, you're still a man. Regardless of how they feel about you, who that person feels about you, your manager feels about you, you're still a man. And that doesn't need to be proven by anyone. And the moment that shift happened, I was able to be vulnerable. And when I mean vulnerable, I mean is I choose to be these things. I choose to do those things, but they don't define me. And they don't define me because I have created a frame that allows the man to exist first. You see, if we now base our identity based on what society tells us, the moment society disappears, we no longer have an identity. And I don't know about you, but I would not want to rely on society to tell me who I am. I'd rather figure that out for myself, because whether society is there or not, whether they support me or not, I know that this is who I am. And because I know this is who I am, come rain or storm, that doesn't change. That's who I am. Rise by pretending, okay? You don't rise by basing your identity on things that can fade away, but you do base it on a strong foundation, and that strong foundation doesn't waver come rain or storm. Someone disrespects you, you're still a man. Feels good, doesn't it? To know that you're in charge of your identity. You see, I'm sharing this video because I wish someone had told me this when I lost my job. I wish someone had told me this when I was going through depression. I'm still a man. You're not weak for allowing emotions to drag you down. In fact, your ability to hone those emotions is what makes you even more of a man. Because you see, in today's world, men are one of the two. You're either passive or explosive. So if you're a man that can hone these emotions, you're manly than both of them put together. Because one is dodging, the other one is completely unable to control them. And there you are, being able not just to control them, but to drive them towards the direction you actually want them to take. You need to go to that dark place. A lot of men don't have the capability of being able to face and break the pattern. Something needs to shock the system, to get to that phase where they need to face themselves for real and now say to themselves, this needs to stop. You see, a lot of us are looking for easy way out, motivation and nice talks and words of affirmation. That's the one. Listen, you want to know the real kicker, the one that's going to get you moving, is the pain of staying the same. You see, once that pain is no longer tolerable, that's when things start to happen. That's when things start to move. Because you're not fighting your desire to change, you're fighting your desire to stay the same. And because you're fighting your desire to stay the same, the opposition is going to make it as difficult as possible for you to make that change. This is why you say, hey, oh wow, wake up, rise and shine, it's a new day, it's time for you to be positive, blah, blah, blah. Tell yourself, the last time you weren't positive, what happened? Right? You remember what happened. I don't need to tell you what happened. What happened? The last time you didn't commit to your word, what happened? The last time you overcompensated, what happened? You got taken advantage of, right? Isn't that enough? How much more pain do you need to go through? Can you see how the difference between the two? It's the same situation, but one is motivated by pain, and then the other one is motivated by some encouragement, some wise words and pretty words. No, listen, you want to change your situation. Get good at understanding that comfort you're going through needs to end. Because it's not comfort. It's a battlefield towards the very thing that's holding you back from reaching the level that you were called to reach. You see, I made a video not too long ago where I said that the only way to be strong is to be vulnerable. And I stand by that because I'll tell you this. You see, when you're a guy and you're able to navigate your vulnerability, what you're saying to the world is there's nothing that you can tell me that's going to detach my ability to connect to my manhood. And when you look at it like that, you're no longer a man of weakness. Because you don't need the world to approve that you're a man. And when you no longer need anyone to approve, that's when you start to own. You see, the difference between renting and owning a house is this. One has a contract. Based on paper, they're temporary residents. The other, once they own their house, it's theirs. They don't need no paperwork. I mean, there will, of course, but you get the gist. One is temporary, the other one's permanent. You've been renting your presence based on the skills you've been hiring. I want you to own your presence. Become a permanent resident of your presence. Stop renting it out. You're renting it out to yourself. But the person that's renting it out to you is like a loophole. You're renting it out to yourself, but there's a middleman. And that middleman is milking the situation. And they're right there, parasite, telling you, listen, you're not good enough. You're not good enough to own your presence. You gotta rent it. You gotta buy that car. You ain't confident enough. Of course you need to wear those clothes. Of course you need to overcompensate. You rent your presence. You don't own it. And until you own your presence, like someone owns their house, or you're going to carry on repeating this cycle. Break the contract, break the pattern. If you need help in doing that, that's exactly what I do in my 12-week coaching program, where I can assist you to the best of my ability in understanding how to shift from lack of confidence to owning the room, owning your presence. And I can only do that because, like I said, I had these difficult conversations where luckily you don't get to break yourself to the bone. You get to stand on the shoulders of someone that's already done it so that you can reap the benefits without necessarily paying the price. You're going to pay, of course, but you get the gist, okay? Now that's real power. The real power is in owning your presence, not renting it. Stop renting. That obviously I don't mean in real life, but you get the gist. Right, so if this video has added value to you, drop in the comments some of the topics you'd like me to cover. But you're not broken. You just need to become honest and real with yourself, okay? But without further ado, let's build better relationships, one conversation at a time. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Rain for you.